We just had a review of how to do consolidation at the date of acquisition. Now we're going to begin talk about the first part of chapter 3. Specifically, the topics we're going to cover in today's class include, first of all, what is the basic objective of consolidation? What may complicate the consolidation process? And then we're going to look at what to do on the parent's book subsequent to the date of acquisition. Specifically, the parent may choose to use either of the three methods: the equity method, initial value method, and partial equity method. So one thing to notice here is the equity method we're going to talk here, it is the equity method the parent use when it chooses to do consolidation. So once we go to the journal entries, you will see that the journal entries are very similar to the equity method we talked about before, which is between 20 to 50% ownership. So if it is within this range, we use the equity method. And if it is more than 50%, we use consolidation. If it is less than 20%, we use fair value method. So the equity method we're going to talk here, it is within if the parent has more than 50% ownership of the subsidiary and it should use consolidation. Under this situation, the parent, so if the, when we are talking about what to do subsequent to the date of acquisition, if you still remember from last class, it is under the situation that the two firms remain separate legal entity. Otherwise, we don't need to do any consolidation after the date of acquisition. So this is just for, this is only for when the two firms remain separate legal entity. And then on the parent's book, the parent can use either of the three methods, the equity method, initial value, and partial equity. And the equity method here, it is similar to the equity method before, but conceptually, those are two totally different situations. So this is something to pay attention to. And then, so first of all, what is the basic objective of consolidation? What do you think is the basic objective of consolidation? Why do we need to consolidate? The basic objective of consolidation is to combine all assets, liability, revenue, expense, and equity account of a parent and its subsidiary. So because the parent and subsidiary, they choose to remain separate legal entity, and both the parent and the sub, they each have their own book. So the parent is going to keep its book, subsidiary is going to keep its own book. And then, so at the end of the financial reporting period, we need to combine those two, and then we can, so that we can report it to external investors as a whole. So that is the basic objective of consolidation, is just to combine. What may complicate the consolidation process? A lot of things may complicate the consolidation process. So one thing, as we briefly mentioned at the beginning, like just 2 minutes from now, the parent may select different accounting method to monitor its relationship between the parent and the sub. So for example, the equity method, initial value, or partial equity method. And then one thing to notice here is, we're going to see it through an example, but I just want to mention it up front. The method the parent select should not affect the consolidated total amount. So in other words, no matter which method the parent select to monitor its relationship with the subsidiary, your consolidated total numbers should always be equal, should always be the same, no matter which method the parent select. And also, so the amortization of excess payment, that may also complicate the consolidation process that we are going to talk about in next class. And then intra-entity transactions, that will also add a lot of complexity to the consolidation process. And this we're going to talk about in later classes. So those are the situations that may complicate the consolidation process. And then in the rest of today's class, we're just going to start talk about different methods the parent can use to monitor its relationship with the subsidiary.